Tracy has had me reading a whole bunch of different books that she's been getting in her MBA program. And as I've been reading them, I kind of compiled them into one thought process. And it's a title for this podcast that I couldn't come up with. So here we go. One title was Effective versus Defective Dental Teams, or how about Effective versus Ineffective Dental Teams? Then I started joking, decayed dental teams, it goes beyond teeth. Or how about preventing dental team decay, a business approach? We begin our podcast right there.
Welcome, all you wonderful dental podcast listeners, to the My Practice, My Business Dental Podcast Show, where we help dentists profit and thrive with excerpts from the clinical business of dentistry training here at My Practice, My Business. We'll be addressing and answering questions with current trends dentists and their teams face each and every day in their pursuit of this wonderful career we call dentistry. And now, the host of our show, the clinical director at My Practice, My Business, Dr. Rob Thorup.
First of all, I'd like to apologize to all of you. I got kind of chastised by some of you listeners out there. I haven't put out a podcast for a while. We've had a lot going on with the new state law, the new Utah dental law that we have here. And we've been working our guts out with some other associations, trying to help them with the law. That's going to be a different podcast, and I can't wait to talk about it with all of you. We've learned a lot, but that's not today's podcast. I hope you like the intro, because we had a really tough time deciding what the title of this was going to be. But from years and years of working with practices and hearing the feedback, not from the dentists per se, although we love that feedback, but from the team members giving us feedback of what's going on in the office. And a lot of this spun off of team members wanting to go through training, but the dentists, they don't want to do the training because I have philosophies. I have business philosophies of how things should be, and it's not ingrained in business because I've not obtained a degree in business. So I'm going to help all of you today with something that's just been weighing heavy on my mind. And then before I begin there, I do want to express my heartfelt love and prayers to our service members over there in Afghanistan, especially the ones whose lives were taken. We had a young U.S. Marine killed over there with the debacle that's going on. I won't get political on all of us too much today, but what an absolute mess. And I hope that and pray that it gets better and it works out. So thoughts and prayers go to all those families who have loved ones over there, and to the Afghani people that are trying to escape that regime that's taking place. Anyway, one of the things, this could be a very political podcast, because we're going to start out with trust issues, but we'll try and keep it to the dental practice. Every time we talk to team members and especially ones wanting to do training and they're held back by somebody, and the dentists want to do trainings, and then they're held back by the front office or other team members. And trust issues is number one. Trust issues. Healthy, functioning teams, effective teams, they're able to speak their truth. And that's what I term it. Speak your truth. I have sit down, come to Jesus meetings with my team all the time. And it's like we just had one actually yesterday. And it was good. It was good to hear their feedback. And they know that they can talk openly to me and tell me the truth. And I will love them regardless. I might want to, torture them in my dreams and beat them up, pull their heads off, off with your heads. Queen of Hearts. Anyway, Alice in Wonderland, dating myself again. Some of you don't even know what that is. So it's like, but I want them to be able to speak their truth, because that's what healthy teams can do. And that's what we want. We want effective, healthy teams. And then these healthy performing teams help one another. We just came across an office that signed up for training, and they're already doing that. They're cross-trained, and I love it. There's not one person that holds one position of power in their office. It's like that special forces unit, and they work with each other's strengths. That's so important too, in trusting each other. It's not the office manager peeing in all four corners of the front and not allowing any team member to come help him or her, right? And it's not the dentist that he or she is the controlling entity of the practice, but they all work as a team. So these unhealthy, ineffective teams, defective teams, decayed teams, they'll exploit and hide weaknesses, and you know what I'm talking about. They sit there and prey on each other. They have the imposter syndrome. They maintain that imposter syndrome where they come across knowing everything, but they actually don't. And Doc, that can be you. You can be that imposter who comes across, I know business, I know everything. We're going to do it my way. When that team member might have something that they can contribute, that they've worked in another office, or maybe they do have a degree in business or an associate's in business, and they have a lot of ability to help. So you got to be careful with that imposter syndrome, okay? And then they avoid training meetings and team meetings. They just don't want those. I'm above that, okay? So those are unhealthy teams. The second category that we find is they fear debate. They don't like confrontation. Well, you know what? Sometimes confrontation and debate is healthy when it's done in the right way. So these healthy teams, these power pack teams, these effective teams, they will debate problems and issues to fix them. And I love those two words, fix them or fix it, okay? So they're not afraid to attack those problems and collectively fix these problems. Oh my gosh, I love my team right now. I have a high-performing team right now, and they're not that they're high-performing, they're just effective. They are very effective in what they're doing. And they will fix problems. I was delegating like a madman last week, and I was absolutely humbled and surprised at the problems that I gave them that I thought that maybe they would come back to me and ask for help. Oh, no. They fixed them, and they fixed them in a couple of ways that I would not have done it that way. And you know what I'm talking about. I love that they did, and they include the collective and not the few. They work as an entire team to fix these issues. Okay? That was what's fun, too. So they're all sitting in the front office there for a minute, and I said, hey, I need this done, this done, this done. And I said, I don't care who does it, but you guys collectively figure out who's going to be responsible for each one of those issues and report back to me. Bam, done, reported back. It was unbelievable. I haven't had a team like that for years. And so when I talk about going back to this effective versus defective dental teams or effective versus ineffective, the team is effective most of the time, but sometimes they're ineffective. So it doesn't mean you have an ineffective team constantly. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just saying we all have ineffective teams sometimes. And the more effective they are and the more they work together because they don't have trust issues and they don't fear debate, the more healthy they are. And then they come up with unemotional solutions. And that's the best part. I love that. They come up with solutions and they don't have this, my high chances working yesterday. It was pretty funny because it's a couple of things that she came up with to fix the problems. They're like, no, I don't think we should do it that way. And so she puts on this face. It's funny. It's like, Dr. Rob, everybody's being mean to me. They won't do things I want to do. It's like, okay, well, go fix it yourself. But she is hilarious. Funny team. I have just funny team members right now, and they are fun because they work together and they're cohesive. What does an unhealthy, ineffective team do? Well, they avoid that perceived conflict. You see, just because you get shot down doesn't mean you're It doesn't define you if you have an idea, but everybody lifts one another and says, they're like, okay, maybe that's not a good idea, but let's do it what about this way? And then they collectively come up with different thought processes, and then they vote on it. It's fantastic, but an unhealthy, ineffective team, they perceive that as conflict, and then they form cliques to avoid the problems. That's what we see. Every time we have a team come in and train, it's like we can tell if there's little cliques in the office or if they truly love each other. And that's a major problem, because then the third point of that unhealthy, ineffective team, they lack vision, promoting confusion. And when they don't have the same vision and they're not pulling in the same direction to be an effective team and to hit that performance level, they just promote confusion. And sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. So fear of debate is at number 2. So number 1 is trust issues. 2 is fear of debate. The third one is they lack dedication. So the healthy, effective teams, they're committed to the practice. They're the 4- and 5-star employees that I've talked about in other podcasts. They'll do whatever it takes as long as it's moral and legal. They are committed to the practice because they know that that's what's supporting their family financially. They're not just there to get a paycheck. Okay? So they're committed to the practice, and they're committed to the patients because why? And I'm going to keep coming back to this, because even as I've been doing this podcast, right now, in my mind, if they don't have a love for what they're doing, and they don't love the people, and they don't love each other, you've lost. They're not committed. Okay? So that's unhealthy. So these healthy, effective teams, they're committed to the practice. They do whatever it takes as long as it's moral and legal. And they have a clear direction of priorities. And Doc, what are you setting for that clear direction of priorities? And it's obviously patient care and profitability in the practice, because that's where our incomes come from. That's where bonusing comes from. That's where raises can come from. I don't do raises. I do bonusing each and every month, because then they are financially committed. They take ownership of what they do. That's so important. And they love it, because they actually end up making more money most months. The unhealthy teams, the unhealthy, ineffective, decayed teams, they just go through the motions. And the thing that I find that there's 2 things that I find about them that just emanate from these unhealthy, ineffective teams. They are extremely selfish, but they won't even admit that because they're in it. They don't know. And they're self-centered. Right, Doc? See, you and I fall into these categories too. We're not exempt from being selfish or self-centered. We're just not. And we need to be careful that we don't fall into that category either. So what are you doing for your teams to show servant leadership? What are you doing to make sure that you're patient-centered and that you are team-centered instead of self-centered? That could be a whole podcast itself. And the fourth one out of 5, there's 5 points. Don't worry, we'll get to all of them. The fourth one is lack of ownership. So now I'm going back to that one, lack of ownership that I mentioned earlier. A healthy, effective team has the attitude that everyone owns profitability. See how these build on each other? When I talked about lack of dedication, they don't take ownership of anything. So that lack of ownership being number 4 is that healthy team, everyone owns that profitability. Everyone has to work hard. I find it so amazing how the team members that want raises, they're the ones that don't take ownership of what they do. So that healthy, effective team, everyone owns profitability. Everyone is held to the same standard, and everyone is accountable to each other. So when somebody's slacking off, the other team members will make comments. They'll let the other ones know, hey, look, You need to share in the responsibility. And that's what I love seeing. Oh my gosh, you guys, this works so well. You will have assistants who might not be doing anything, helping the hygienist just clean their room really quick and helping them turn things over. If hygiene is booked in what I call triplets every 30 minutes, obviously the assistant's doing the polishing, finishing up the patient. I go in there with the assistant. The hygienist is still scaling the next room. But when that doesn't happen, and sometimes there's lags in the schedule, you might want to just take this segment to play for your hygienist stock. My hygienist will go clean up rooms behind me and the assistant working. My hygienist will take payments over the phone. My hygienist does recall. And that's what team means. I hate the acronyms. Let's just define team by example. That is the example. So everyone is accountable to each other. Then the unhealthy, non-functioning teams, the ones that struggle, they have this statement. And everyone, listen to what I'm going to say. Everybody in the office, in my office, if they ever say this, they're instantly fired. And I have instantly fired people off this statement before. This is the statement. It's not my job. Oh my gosh. And the team members that come out with that one too. But they all have that capability. It's not my job. If you say that in my office, you're gone. Because I clean instruments, I'll wipe down rooms, I vacuum the floors. And it's everybody's job. And then the unhealthy the unhealthy teams, the non-effective or ineffective teams, they rules don't apply to them. In fact, rules don't apply to everyone. They have their own set of rules. They can come in late if they have to leave early for whatever reason. I'm tired. Can you do that? I had a really rough night. That kind of crap. And then the unhealthy, non-functioning teams, they have poor business skills, and they're tolerated. They're accepted. Oh, my gosh. I was over talking to my one of the docs in my building, and I'll just say it like that so I don't exclude anybody. We have several dentists in the building I'm in, and I love it. I love the camaraderie. It was really high for years. It's dropped. Now it's building back up, and I love that. And he was telling me how he took and had this front office person who just flat out had poor business skills. And he said, and I let her go. I fired her, and she was so mad at me. But she called herself an office manager, but she did not have the business skills to even come close and to what I wanted. And so I just met his new office manager last Friday. And she, unless she's hiding stuff, but I don't think she is, because I was quizzing her on different things, and they're looking at doing our training, and she was fantastic. She's sharp. I love it. And she has business skills, and I'm really excited for him because that's a team member that I'm really excited to see him run with. And the last one, you guys, the last one is vision to perform, or what we call vision to performance. And a healthy, functioning team, they're highly motivated. And they're highly motivated from the things that we discussed, the other 4 points we discussed. They have functioning team development. They are not afraid to go through forming, storming, norming, and performing. They're not afraid to tackle on new technology and to do new things in their practice to better the practice. What a concept. Okay. And these highly functioning teams, they're moral and ethical, results oriented. And I love that. I love when teams use morals and values and ethics to achieve the things that they want to do. They don't allow temptation to come in to do things like overdiagnose, which is taught, again, by many out there. The unhealthy, non-functioning, decaying teams, they have consistent confusion in the practice. And it's usually there's one dominant team member, and that can be the doc, the office manager, the hygienist, and they have consistent confusion because they won't allow the team to grow because it might overshadow them in their position. They tolerate poor performance. They continue to let it happen, continue to let team members come in late. They continue to have team members not present treatment as it should be presented. They let accounts receivable go. When the patient comes in through the door, it's, oh, hi, how are you? It's answering the phone. Thank you for calling Thorpe Dental. What do you want? It's that kind of stuff. Poor performance. And then they lack team loyalty that leads to turnover. They can't, and I see this all the time in one or two of the offices that I've seen in our building. There's constant turnover. Now there's, you can have constant turnover by our team members, spouses going to dental school, spouses going to getting a job in another state. Our team members, our female team members, they get pregnant and they have that cute little one. They don't want to come back to work. Maybe they come back part-time. We all have that, and we deal with that. And that's one reason to see people leave. But that should be it, right? They have that turnover constantly. So going back to the title of this podcast, Effective versus Defective Dental Teams, Effective versus Ineffective Dental Teams, Decayed Dental Teams, it goes beyond teeth, Preventing Dental Team Decay, a business approach. All these titles just fit, and they don't need to. You, doc, CEO of your company, I hope this is something, a podcast that you'll ponder and listen to and be able to open up that communication, be able to talk freely with your teams and be able to lead your team in a way that you don't have trust issues and you don't fear debate and you don't have a lack of dedication and you don't have a lack of ownership and your team has that vision to perform and you don't allow them to drag your business down. Those are the things that we've seen constantly as Tracy and I have been talking with practices and training, and I hope this has been a effective dental podcast for you today. And God bless all of you during these tough times, and hopefully you'll be able to be successful and thrive with your businesses and everything you do. We're seeing dental insurance companies lowering reimbursement rates. I just had my son text me. Here, he's not even in dental, right? He just texted me this. Doesn't pertain so much to us, but this is the stuff that we're seeing. Insurance providers will no longer waive all costs associated with COVID-19 treatment. This is the kind of stuff that we're seeing across the board because dental insurance companies, they got to answer to their shareholders. They want to be profitable. You need to figure out ways to be profitable with them. We have those answers at My Practice, My Business. Hope you contact us till we see you again. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you for being with us today. To learn more about our guaranteed, no-risk clinical business of dentistry training that is changing dental practices for the better, just go to our website, mypracticemybusiness.com, and surf our pages for additional information about our company. When you're ready, give us a call and get scheduled for the best training you'll ever experience. Those are the words of our clients, not us. Our mission statement is simple. We increase the net revenue of dental practices with our key methods, tools, and training utilizing everyday need-based dentistry. We believe that there's never been a more important time than now for dentists to know what we know, and that is 1, how to compete with retail America, 2, how to be profitable with dental procedures, especially those performed on patients with dental insurance plans, 3, how to place oral health care at the forefront of patients' discretionary spending, and 4, how to ethically, legally, and morally be paid fairly for the services you provide. All of us here at My Practice, My Business know exactly how to help you implement each of those talking points and more with our key methods, knowledge, and training. Our clients' testimonies say it all. If you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. Thank you for listening, and we hope to see you soon at the My Practice, My Business training facility located in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call us. Thank you again and have a fantastic day.